All right, let's see how this goes. Boom, you're live. Okay, we're live, bro. Don't say anything crazy. Three people in. I said 3 people in, 6 people in. I'm gonna set up the Instagram one too. Hey, what's up, buddy? Here now. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna run the Instagram one and the YouTube one at the same time, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, it's not like sideways for them. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do one soon. Actually, I just ordered a new computer. It's supposed to get here in like a week or so, and then it's gonna be a little bit easier for me to do some of the editing for the match analysis. Best open guard to start with as a white belt. Yeah, I'm still in Sweden. I think the best open guard for a white belt, probably double sleeve. It depends on if you have to set it up or if you're doing specific sparring to develop it. The reason I like the double sleeve is I think it's just a little bit simpler to control. Most open guards, they're different than closed guard. Like closed guard, it's pretty simple to control. You just keep your feet locked, right? But like open guards usually require a lot more variables. So for example, if I was playing collar sleeve like this, right? Then he can like loop this foot. Let's turn this foot down, right? He can loop this foot and then I can push and go here. This could go De La Riva hook. And like, you know, I can loop in. And there's a lot going on. It's a very, very powerful guard. It's one of my favorites. But there's a lot more variables that you have to be active with. Same thing if I'm doing De La Riva with like a pant control or an ankle, and then this right hand could be on like a collar. So I just call this collar ankle or collar pant or sleeve ankle, sleeve pant. Again, here he can push my leg down. He can grab my lapel. There's a lot going on to consider, right? So for me, double sleeve, I think as far from here, there's a lot of things you can transition to. This could turn into spider guard and stuff. But this basic position here, if you just go palms up and keep a good control, it's really hard for him to do much. It's very easy to control. If he leaves this elbow knee gap open, I can use this to pull into close guard. If he keeps his elbow knee tight, I can learn the basic De La Riva hook, push the hip out, go backwards, go overhead. I can transition to other guards. If the guy's in my closed guard, and I feel like he's going to open the guard by like say standing or whatever he's going to do, I can always just hold both sleeves open, and I'm already here in this basic control, and I can start building off of this, right? The only negative maybe is for a new person, when you start an open guard, you do have to get both sleeves, and that can be a bit tricky sometimes. So the match starts and I'm trying to get like both sleeves, you may have that back. So then sometimes you need to like learn to build off of one sleeve. So maybe I lasso, he grabs here, I break past the body like this. So I would say the first two starter ones are double sleeve and collar sleeve, especially too, because double sleeve will work if your opponent is on both knees, one knee up or standing, it's going to work against all three of those situations, right? If you try to build like a De La Riva game first, like holding the ankle, the guy may stand up the whole time. Or sorry, he may go fight on both knees, and then you can't grab the ankle, right? If you like to play butterfly, like classic butterfly with like the sweeps like this, he may be standing and it's really hard to set up. So I think double sleeve, collar sleeve for both setup and basic ease control, I think those are my favorite starting ones. Cool. Oh man, we got a lot of questions already. 38 people. Yeah, we'll do some vice guard details for sure. Actually, how many people are in on Instagram here? 26. I'm not sure if Natty Flowers was in here, but she had a question I was going to answer. She this will be saved, so if you're not here, you'll see it later. She had a question. She said, when you have a shallow lasso, how do you keep someone who's really heavy off of you, right? So let's say we're here right? And by shallow lasso, for you all that don't know, a shallow lasso is just where you have the lasso with a foot more on the shoulder, right? Go ahead and set up. A deep lasso, I go more deep with this. And they have different purposes. I think as a general rule, I prefer the shallow as a start point because it's easy to transition to other stuff. If I want an omoplata or a triangle, I unlasso quick, go for the omoplata or the triangle. I can unlasso and go to a De La Hiva hook. You know, I can switch to spider guard. There's so many things. Also, when this right leg gets trapped in between their legs, when they trap this in between their leg, it can be really hard to get out. Keep going down. It can be really hard to get out. So by pushing with this foot, it's easy to get this back out. And any omoplata or triangle, I really need to have this leg out, right? So I can create space with this, and then now if he grabs here, that's actually one of the reasons I like the position so much. In fact, if you watched Mikey Musumeci when he fought the big guy at Europeans, I think most people saw that fight, Mike weighed off really well with the spider hook, right? Go back up. But it can be a bit different if you don't have this second sleeve and no spider hook yet, and the person's kind of pressuring you in here. There's different ways to deal with this. You can push with the foot, so you drive in a little bit. I can create space with the foot, but even that, sometimes there's someone really heavy, it can be hard. Cross collar, I have the sleeve and then this knee shield. So he drives in really hard here. I can kind of create space. From here, this left foot could become a De La Hiva hook, and I can start going for bolos, bumping them forward, stuff like that. If I'm here like this, keep those like pressure in really hard. And he starts trying to loop out. Let's turn that. Right. If he's pressuring in really hard, and he tries to like loop out of this lasso, I'll usually just push this and unlasso. Now I can go to the hip. I can work this like straight off. I try to keep my hip heavy to the floor, keep them back. If I don't have that and it's difficult, I'll go collar sleeve, and I kind of have this knee shield lasso and even push with the hand and the neck here to create space. So totally right on me here. See, it's really easy to kind of push. I even push with the hand here on this wrist, right? So drive weight into me here. See, and then create that space, and then now I can go De La Hiva hook and on the hip, and I can start navigating stuff like that. Cool. Let's take, for you guys watching, I have people on YouTube as well as Instagram watching, so I'm going to kind of go back and forth between you all. Let's see, on Instagram here. Any questions from, okay, Natty's there, so I hope you saw that. Okay, guys. Okay, I don't see any questions right now on Instagram, so I'm going to jump to YouTube again. Hey, John, how do you pass someone who's really insistent on playing knee shield? Almost going belly down. Okay, yeah, that's a great question, actually. From Mendez Goon. Go down. Let's look at the right angle to do this. I think be like here. Yeah. Okay, so his question was, how do you deal with someone who's like knee shielding so hard that the knee is like almost inverted like this, right? So of course I like the knee cut a lot, and a lot of times the knee shield happens because the person's entering in for the cut incorrectly. I'm going to show you what could have caused that, as well as what to do if they are like hyper knee shielding, right? So if it's like this here, a lot of times I like the pant leg so they can't lasso, but let's just say that I'm not going to do that for now. So I like to follow this line with my forearm to block out this leg, like high, like this, right? He could lasso here, then I would have to deal with that, but we'll just presume he's not lassoing. I would kill this leg, I go high, and I want my knee to go up, right? A lot of people, they kind of cut to the side more, like this, and I feel like that kind of drags the shield into you. So by going more directly up with your knee and aiming your knee towards the armpit, it makes it way easier to deflect that shield. So if I'm here like this and he's even shielded a bit, right, I would try to come in and frame this out of it, and then I try to lift, you say I lift my foot, I put my weight on my right hand, and I try to aim my knee high so that shield's hard. Even if you got the shield in a little bit here, as long as it's not mega deep, often I can use my knee to center into his stomach. I kind of take my weight back a bit, and I drive my knee to his stomach. That'll center him, and then I drop the knee again. Now it's really hard to knee shield. Also, I want to rotate my upper body to the right here to try to make it more difficult for him to knee shield, right? Now let's just say that beforehand, he's like hyper shielded like this. In this case, it's going to be, even if I tried to come in and open this, he can be so far here, it's difficult. In this case, I'm going to try to pass to the right side. There's a few different ways I can do that. One I like to do is I'll just quick pin this leg, and I'm going to control this foot and just guide it this way. I don't need to hold it long. I just need to clear it. Once I've cleared it, I'm going to focus on this knee, and he's almost always going to turn back into me. If he doesn't, he's just going to give me the pass, but keep him turning. Now it's going to turn into more like a Toriando, okay? So what that'll look like, it's like I'm here, maybe I want to enter a cut. I just step back and clear that. I catch the knee here. I might even grab the material here. I pick this up from my buddy Paquito, right? And then as he tries to come back into me, now I'm opening and I'm going to the other side. Now, as you start to threaten this a lot, what will start happening is when you go here, he'll open his hip up a bit to try to fight. And now we come back, and now I'm starting to come in, right? So that's more of a grip fighting issue a bit. If they're doing that hyper knee shield in the beginning. So you can either A, try to knee cut through it by centering a lot and going more up the center line, or you can threaten like a Toriando to the right side. If they don't expose that, then you, or if they don't give you that pass, often they open up, and then you can go back to the knee cut. Okay, yeah, how this wasn't too long. I'm playing gi. Okay. The question, what kind of open guard should short people use? I hear that question all the time. It takes a lot of different forms. It may be like, what kind of game should a short person use? It may be like, what does someone with like short feet play? What about someone who's really strong, or different things like that. Usually I don't think in those terms. I've seen a lot of guys who have amazing spider guards. Cobrini had an amazing spider guard, and he's like a really not tall guy, right? There's a lot of guys who have like one of the best butterfly players of all time was Leo Santos, and he's a super tall, lanky guy, right? There's almost always an exception to like, this guy is getting fat as fuck, not training right now. There's always an exception to that. So try not to, I think that question kind of comes with the mindset that you're trying to pick the right position. Like you're trying, sorry guys, if I'm looking this way, it's because I have a big TV here, right? I think that question usually stems with Daniel in the video here. I think that question usually stems from like, you're concerned about picking the right guard for you, because you're concerned like, okay, well, I'm short, this is my body type, what's the right guard for me to play? I don't think that's a good way to think about it. Like, you really want to develop all of the guards. You want to have like a collar sleeve, a double sleeve, a De La Hiva, a reverse De La Hiva, a single leg guard, a half guard, an X guard, a knee shield. Have all of them, and work in phases. Do like 2 weeks in one, get confident at it, and then immerse yourself in another one, and just go in phases. And what you're going to find is like a really good guard, it's about learning when to combine the moves together when someone makes something available. Because you may want to play your game. Like, let's say you're like, okay, I'm a short guy, I'm going to play butterfly. That's my game because I'm a short guy, right? And then you fight a guy who can stand up. And then he's got his hips really far back and his hands are forward, right? And like butterfly is hard. Now, of course, you could do kind of like Marcelo, like arm drags and stuff, but like, you could play like a Hamulo guard, right? Which is Hamulo Bahal. We play this position a lot where you get one lapel and one sleeve and go into the spider hook here and control, right? You don't have to be super long to play this game. It's super easy, right? From here, it's very tough for guys, and they usually will try to posture a bit to get out. I can switch the ankle, push the hip. Now I'm getting into a single leg, right? Now as I'm trying to do the single leg, a lot of guys will try to kind of will come to their knee to try to defend this. Okay, like step the foot back and drop your knee a bit. Yeah, I have guys like do this because it's harder to come up, and then maybe I turn in here and get into a butterfly, for example, okay? I just made that stress about choosing the right guard. When you understand, it doesn't matter which guard you choose, just spend time in all of them. You're gonna end up becoming better at all of them by learning to play all of them. And if you want to get good at passing, you really need to understand how they all function, right? Even guards I don't play a ton, I will play them for a bit so I understand them better to pass them better. All right, let's see if Instagram's got any more questions. Okay, let's see. I just see a lot of people on Instagram. No one's asking. Oh, wait. Yeah, I needed to scroll down. My bad. Can you go over some sweeps from double sleeve? Sure. One back. And a heavy trying to. So double sleeve, I would just say, instead of me re-going through it, I just did a YouTube video. It's called like one of the most effective attack series in jiu-jitsu. I go through like a very basic double sleeve system in that one to check out. It's really a good one to check out. And we'll just go through all that for you, just so I don't re-go through it for a lot of people that might have already seen it. What's up, Paquito? I see you in there. Okay, how do you film study? I feel like I missed key details. Thanks. Okay, this is a great question. So especially right now, since like most of us are in quarantine, film study is like a super critical part of jiu-jitsu, especially if you're in quarantine. I came from a small gym in like St. Louis, Missouri, and it had a really great foundational jiu-jitsu. It was like a classic Hicks and Gracie gym with Rodrigo Vaghi. And I had really strong fundamentals with like arm bars, triangles, mount, and those positions. but I got really into modern jiu-jitsu, and I wanted to learn to do these things like spider guard and collar sleeve. This is before berimbolo was a thing, so like spider guard was kind of the modern thing. And the way I learned a lot of that was by watching competition footage. But the thing is, you can't just watch video and learn by just watching video. You also have to have the sparring aspect, okay? So the way I do it is I will do sparring, specific sparring, with very specific parameters, right? So I might go, okay, I want to develop double sleeve. I don't know anything about double sleeve yet, so I'm just starting from ground zero. So the first thing I might do, even before watching video, I might just see like a picture of someone playing it, or I watch just a little bit of video. I know what the position looks like. I would just go there to the position, right? And I might go with my partner and I go, okay, we're going to kind of start at a slower pace. I'm just going to try to hold like lasso spider, and then you just try to get out. And then we just start going. And I have no idea what he's going to do. He might not even know the position well. And he starts doing stuff. So maybe he starts posturing really hard, starts throwing, or what, somehow I get past, right? So I might do that for like 20, 30 minutes, and we just try to notice patterns. Like, man, it's annoying when he postures hard. It's annoying when I have the lasso and he loops out. And I just start taking notes on problems that I'm having, right? Things that are giving me a hard time. Then later on, maybe the same day, maybe like a day later, what I'll do is I'll watch, I'll find competition video of someone who's good at that position. And then I just try to find all of the clips in them from their match where they're in that position I'm trying to develop. So if it was double sleeve and it was like 2008, I might be watching a lot of Michael Lange and seeing what is he doing. So then I watch all those clips, and when you watch just not the whole match per se, but just the section where he's playing that position, and I'll just see what happens. And I might notice, oh man, the guy postured really hard there. That gave me a hard time in sparring. What did Michael Lange do? It's like, oh, okay, he worked underneath. That's interesting. I'll take a note of that. And I start taking notes of all these little details I notice that I think maybe there's something to it. And a lot of times the ideas I get by watching are wrong. I would say 90% of the ideas I come up with end up being wrong, and 10% end up being really good and like game changing, right? But you have to go through all the shit to find the good ones, right? So you have to have that trial and error portion of the specific sparring with resistance too. You can't just like kind of light drill. You have to have your opponent resist on a realistic level, right? You can slow the speed down, but they need to actually resist, so you're getting real feedback. That's going to give you the problems. Then you use watching video to kind of like analyze, like you'll see things after you spar that you wouldn't had you just watched the video. If you just watch the video first and you were watching spider guard, you don't know much about it. If the guy postures, you may not even notice that the guy was posturing, that's a thing. But once you spar in the position a bit and you get past a couple times, you'll notice those problems. And then next time you rewatch the video, you'll kind of key in on those details and you'll see small things. So it's kind of a back and forth process between watching a video with a lot of footage of that moment and yourself sparring in the position. That's a key thing, right? Also, that's just one way of getting feedback. Another way is an instructor. If the instructor knows the position you're trying to develop, it's important that you understand what your instructor is good at, right? So if you want to know double sleeve stuff, I can help you a lot, right? If you want to know deep half guard stuff, I'm not the guy to help you on that. There's plenty of blue belts in the world who are way more knowledgeable than me about deep half guard, right? So just because you have a black belt or you're like an accomplished competitor doesn't mean you know everything, right? So try to take from your coach what he is really good at, and he can speed up the process for you. So I would say instructionals, asking your coaches or senior students questions about the positions, and watching competition footage. But the bedrock is specific sparring. Use those three tools to give you answers. One other thing I would say about instructionals to be very careful is you need to really trust the source of the instructional. Even a lot of high-level competitors will sometimes put techniques in the instructional that I feel like they don't actually use, or they just needed to throw an extra video in, and they just kind of felt pressure to make something up, so they show it. And you may be trying to force a technique to work that doesn't actually work. That's one thing I always liked about competition video is the move works. If like a world-class black belt got swept or submitted with this move, on some level, it's going to work, right? So again, final thoughts, just to make it concise, is try to focus on the specific sparring in a position you're developing, and then mix watching competition footage. Take notes when you watch the competition footage on ideas, things that could help you on your specific sparring session, and also talk to senior students, instructors that know those positions well. And then instructionals is another one, but be aware when you're watching instructionals. Some stuff is good, some stuff is bad. Cool. Vice guard, I'm getting a lot of vice guard here. Okay, guys, let's do some a little bit of vice guard. Okay, so surgery and haven't got to compete with it yet, but I tested on a lot of world-class guys coming through the gym, so it's definitely working. And then also I was going to get back to competition in the next 2 to 3 months, but who knows when that's going to be now. So go up here. So one big thing with vice guard is setup, right? You have to be able to set it up well, and I would say that's one of the more difficult parts about this position is the setup. Once you're in it, it's very strong. So I would say the two like setups I like the most, or I think are maybe think about the easiest ones. Probably the easiest one would just be from a deep lasso. So the person's here, I can just get like this far collar grip, go on a deep lasso, set her up, and I can take my right hand, go under my own leg and grab here, switch up to this lapel with my left hand, pull this leg out, and I'm in the vice guard. That's like a setup from a deep lasso. That's a really good one if you want to get there. The ones that I actually use most, I kind of use this position. I don't know how to name for it, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a setup from like a cross lasso. So I'll be playing with this lasso. The do then is I kind of hook this side and turn on my side. Here, I'm going to make a quick switch to this cross sleeve. In the vice guard video I did, you can see me use this a couple times, right? So he's here, he's hiding his back. I switch to this cross sleeve. From here, often, once I kind of pull this back, guys will look to grab this, right? If they give me this sleeve, it's very easy to pull this leg out here, and I can shoot the triangle, and this arm is trapped under. It can become a bit annoying, especially if he pushes it out wide like this, right? So a lot of times when I set it up, I shotgun to his bicep like that so he can't hit it, okay? Now, one of the most common problems people are having is that the guy will start pushing this leg down to step over it. And then you step over it, and now it's trapped. And this actually, if this leg is trapped, it's not good for this position. Usually I need a lasso or something, but there's a lot of problems that will come up once this happens, right? We'll go back up. The good news, though, is this is pretty much always blockable, okay? I have this lapel high with my left hand. I have this arm trapped under my leg, right? If any of you guys don't know what this position is at all, I have a YouTube video on it. Just like I invented a new guard called the vice guard, right? So I'm here like this. So when he goes to push this down, he cannot push it down without stepping back a lot. So he's always going to give this deep lace. He's always going to expose that deep lace, right? So he's here. He cannot prevent this deep lace from happening. There's no way when I'm here, I'm like kind of extending up like this. There's no way when I'm here that he can push that down and get fully over it without stepping back far enough to expose this deep lace, right? So he goes and does it. He exposes the deep lace. From here, it's very easy to put my right foot on the floor and I just jump him forward. He's going to post the hand. Go back up. Bonus points when I post. Sometimes he'll post his hand on the floor to get extra balance. It's fine. I can still do all these different attacks and stuff. But if you want to get extra, like, because I'll be here and he does kind of a dramatic step. Exactly, right? Once he posts that hand, I bring the right leg out. I swipe this tricep here like this, and I swing in for the triangle or the armbar, right? One last thought is, of course, with all positions, you can only do it when it's available. So if you learn the position, you may be like, I want to do this, like I want to work this today in class sparring or in your quarantine now. You may want to force it, but if the guy's not giving it, he's not giving it, right? So like if I'm here like this and I'm looking for this, or he like deadlifts here, like pops up really hard, here that same kind of setup's not going to work. I can't cross it up. Yeah, I can't go here, and it's just really hard, right? So in this case, when he deadlifts, I would probably come here, go cross sleeve, and then start trying to do more deep lace stuff like this. I would go to the Olivia X, bring him down, and now I can switch out and start attacking here and going from there. But it's a very deep position. I'm going to release some content on. The most common questions I have is how to deal with the guy trapping your leg. All right, let's see. Let's take a question from Instagram again. Let's read it in bigger. Let's see. Sean. Yo, what's up, Joe? My brother's in here. Hey, John, you're the man. I trained with you back in the day. Fenton. Oh, thank you. Spider lasso, you lose spider grip because opponent strongly postures and you can get the collar grip. What do you do? I'm going to read that again. Spider lasso, you lose the spider grip because opponent strongly postures and you can't get the collar grip. What do you do? Okay, that's hard for me to imagine. So are you in
Okay, your spider lasso. Okay, cool. The spider hook or the grip. I guess the grip means probably the sleeve grip. Probably the number one thing for people in spider guard that people do wrong is I think a lot of people have the mindset. I see people saying, how do you break the guy's posture, right? If you guys have listened to me on podcasts before and stuff, I really, really am not a big fan of like abstract principles and ideas like always control posture and things like that. Because in this position, I can't control posture. A lot of positions, you're not going to control posture. You just can't, right? Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's just not an option, right? So if I'm in spider guard and I'm trying to control his posture and he deadlifts, it's going to be too hard on my hands. That's why a lot of people think double sleeve is so hard on the hands because they're trying to break the guy down with the sleeves. That's not how it works. You cannot do that. I have to adapt and go with the opponent, right? So if I'm in lasso spider, the guy deadlifts, so this is really easy. I just let my upper back come up off the mat. Okay? Look, I can do this with like 2 fingers, just the finger and the thumb, right? On each side. If I'm here like this, right, and he deadlifts, and look, see, I can stay like this. Now, this wouldn't work in a match because he could loop around my grip, right? Like he could just loop around the wrist or something like that. That's why actually I like all the sleeve, is because I can take the slack out of the sleeve, so it's harder for him to loop. But like, actually, I have the strength to play spider guard with 2 fingers, right? Posture up again. Like this is actually really easy. There's no effort on my grip, right? That's why most people are losing grips. So if you're in lasso spider here like this, and when he's standing, I like to kind of be loose like this, tight. I go under and go here. So I'm crunched tight, but like I'm not really tight with my feet. So I'm crunched tight, but I'm kind of loose with my feet, right? So as he deadlifts, look, I just come up on lasso, work underneath. I can start attacking overhead from here. I can switch up the ankle locks. A lot of different things I can do from here, right? If I do lose the grip somehow, my triple here, and I lost this here and say that he's so high I can't go to the collar, I probably try to switch cross sleeve here. Keenan used to do this a long time ago when he used to play more open guard systems or like classic open guard stuff. So if he's deadlifting here, I would switch to a cross sleeve grip, grab the ankle. I use my shin to get lift, and I'm going to lift up here and go for a deep lace. You can turn this into a bolo or just for like a classic back kick there. Cool. Hey, do you know the ankle lock? Robin Huang, what's up? Yeah, do you know the ankle lock, buddy? Yeah. So the ankle lock, there's a lot of different variations on it nowadays. I'm not going to go super in depth on the ankle lock, but I would say just like, let's do it on this. There's something here. I would say the biggest thing I always focus on is I think a lot of people make the mistake of kind of thinking about attacking the Achilles heel. I think about it more just trying to like take their foot off of their leg, right? And so to do that, I like to get really tight with this along my rib cage, right? Now there's different ways to break it. I can break the foot outward, I can break it straight back, or I can break it inward. This is more like a toe hold. This is more like a classic straight ankle lock. And then this one's more like a legal heel hook. So I try to get really tight like that on it. You see how like loose I am? His heel is almost coming out here like this, right? And I try to go really deep with my forearm and get a tight grip, okay? Again, I'm not gonna go super in depth on the details. I've been working it with some other friends online. I don't wanna give up all their details because I try to like have good trust with the people that I exchange technique with. But like I get really tight here. I would just say in general, make sure you're choking back really far. Don't worry about getting the sharp part of your bone on their ankle or anything. I just go super deep here. I like this knee behind here like this. And then you can kind of get pressure by either going outside here, outside I can go straight back, or then I can go even this way and break it on the outside. Another big thing is like I start high on the lapel, but then when I apply force, I actually let my hand, I let my hand slide down the lapel so I can get my back into it. A lot of people, they're like here, and they're actually kind of fighting themselves. In the beginning, that's okay to get the foot tight, right? But I like to actually loosen the grip so I can get my back into it. Right, so it's more like you're hitting it with an arm bar, right? I'm letting go now, just so I can show it. But you see, like when I'm back here, it's like my hip is getting into it. Like up here, it's like all upper body. This, it's like super smooth. You can really hit it there. I'm not even grabbing anything, and you can make it tight. Oh, no problem, buddy. Happy that helped with the spider guard detail. Hi, John. Could you please give us an insight how to find entries for the crab ride? Also, what is your takeaway of the position? Do you think it's going to be meta to defend the leg locks in no-gi?
I feel like the question about whether or not it's meta to defend leg locks in no-gi. I don't work no-gi a lot recently, and I'm definitely behind on like the leg lock systems in the no-gi game. So I just feel like not really informed enough on the current leg lock meta to answer that question. As far as like the insights on the crab ride, I would say the biggest thing I got out of having Daniel Myra and Nick Salles here was just I kind of went through it in that last video I did, but certainly like the importance of coming up on top into the leg drag aggressively, because a lot of people, they get so focused on doing all of the crab ride stuff, they're not trying to come up on top into the position. And I think that's like probably the biggest mistake I think I was missing and a lot of people are missing is like, this may be hard to find this place, but it's right. So we here, right? So, yeah. So like when you're here, however you got into here, right? Like this, if I'm here, I'm trying to open this with my knee and pull it back like that, right? And then this right arm, there's a lot of different ways I can go. You go on the lapel or something like this. But if I'm here like this and I'm in like this, right? And this guy is kind of flattening his hip heavy to the floor. And like, I'm really trying to force all these lifts and stuff. It becomes really hard. Here, it just makes so much more sense to flatten him like this, come up on top, I can get this underhook here and grab the collar. I'm at minimum going to get side. If I come up into knee on belly, I get 2, and I might even be able to turn and take the back. You have to threaten that first. If you're not like aggressively threatening that, you're not going to have the necessary like counter pressure from his leg. Now, if he tries to block the leg drag hard, you're going to like kind of, you almost have to bring a knee tight, right? Yeah, you see, because that makes it harder for me to get through this space, right? If he kind of opens this, then it's like easy to come up, right? So, yeah, they can see that, cool, right? So, but as he kind of brings his knee to his chest to the head, then when they roll through, I end up in this really nice stack position, and I can start working the different finish variations. That's what I would say is probably the biggest takeaway from having them here on that topic. There was another question there, right? Setups. As far as like entries for the crab ride, I mean, there's a lot of different ones. If you're on top, you can do it from a stack is one way. If you're on bottom, the Matrix, Kiss of the Dragon from Reverse De La Hiva, like a classic Baby Bolo are probably like the main ones. Also, you can get to it pretty well from like an ankle lock series. Like if you're ever working any taller sleeve series, I'm gonna stand up. Or I'm working like this or something, right? I get in here on the hip and we start using this Keymaster hook or something like this, and I end up grabbing here and pulling under, and we go here and it kind of drop our knee to the floor. Yeah, and we end up in this kind of a thing, which is a great position for attacking ankle locks. It's also very easy from here to just get a cross grip on this pant, go here, and start switching out this way. Anytime you create this kind of classic Baby Bolo position, and whenever he starts falling down, it's going to turn into like naturally into a crab right here, right? And then I'm coming up, and then I start finishing from here. Really good point on bringing the back hip into the mix. Yeah, that's by far the biggest thing is coming up on to finish that leg drag, because when they drive back in, it brings it in. How do I sneak and finish my Kimuras on big guys? Oh, live video paused. Just cut that off. All right. Boom. All right, guys. I often end up in dogfight sometimes with the overhook, sometimes with the underhook. What do you do in each scenario? So do you know what the dogfight is?
That's from half guard.
It's like basically like underhook.
It's like if you came up on your elbow and then the guy has like the overhook would be the person on top.
It's like Lucas Lechat.
Yeah, basically.
Got it. Okay, so the dogfight, I guess, means like the Lucas Lechat, you know, is basically where this guy has an underhook with this arm, right? So my feeling about this position, I'm never like doing like the wizard overhook here. I just feel like guys are so good. When they play this game, that's their game, right? So they know this game inside and out. So usually going for this is very difficult. My favorite thing to defend here is I always grab this leg here. Arm straight and then lean on it. Now keep coming up on your elbow. It's really hard for him to come up. This puts all the weight on his hip. Then I'll use my knee to turn. Say I kind of back my weight up, turn, and then drive my knee to his hip. Now he keeps coming into me. He can't. I pin his hip with my knee. I can dig my underhook, and then now I pass, right? But if it happens that he already came up on the elbow, as fast as possible, I keep this left hand on the floor. I try to grab this back leg here and elevate it really hard, okay?
this makes it really difficult for him to come up. He can keep trying, like keep coming up there. Get a better grip on my back. Yeah, there you go. Keep going up. Yeah. See, this makes it really hard. Keep really trying to come up. Yeah. See, he's got one foot, but it's really difficult. And then I can use that knee to recenter him. Again, once I get this knee on the hip, this one, I can start redigging this underhook and go in for the pass there. From the bottom, I don't play it a ton, so I just feel like I do it a little bit from Keymaster, but I feel like it's not probably the best use of my time to show kind of that sequence from what I would do here. So how do I grip on the pants? I try to get what I can. Like sometimes it's such a fast-paced situation when you're there that sometimes I don't even grab the pants. I just hug the leg because once he's up on his elbow, he's like imminently coming up on top. So you have to react fast. So you know, if it's happening kind of, if he's on his back first and he has this grip, especially if he had like the belt or the hip grip, like you can grab the hip maybe. Yeah, something like this. Right here, I would try this. If I feel like, okay, he's at OC right now. If he's not up on the elbow yet and I'm here and I feel him starting to come up, I have a little more time to make this. But say he's already up on his elbow. It's like right here, he's about to come up. Here, sometimes if the pant's not available, I might even just like grab the leg, right? It just depends on what's available. So I'm really quick, right? If it's a turn, pants are really tight, like you can't get any grip on the pants, just cup the leg, right? And I keep coming up here. Again, that there, and I center with the knee, center and back up, underhook, and go. Great follow-up question. Let's take another one from Instagram. Okay, who are some of the best closed guard players in modern BJJ you recommend studying for that position? Man, I know who uses it a lot. Oh, Rudson Mateos, right?
Rudson Mateos, yeah.
Who else? One of the Canudos, right?
Yeah, Jamie does.
Yeah, Jamie Canudo or Jaime Canudo. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I don't really know everyone that's playing closed guard a lot in modern BJJ. I would make a point, though, as a bit of a side topic here, is that I think it's very useful to go back and study more old school guys as well. Like sometimes we think like, oh, we have to be watching what is the current highest level guy doing. But sometimes there's a position that was popular in like 2004 that people just kind of forget about or they're not using and it's like becomes valid again, right? Or there's guards that kind of stop becoming useful because it's like at that time everyone figured out how to beat it. But the invention of like a new move or a new series makes it valid again. I would say like the cross guard with the cross sleeve and the underhook. For a long time, I feel like that was kind of not popular, but with the kind of development of the Matrix series, that's become really popular again, right? So if you watch like Tommy and Espen, they use the Matrix position a lot. And if you mix that in with a crossguard game, it's super powerful, right? So I would say, I just try to view like all matches just like a way to like, just like I look at it for what I can find for inspiration in it, right? So a lot of times I'll go back and watch like Hodger Gracie and get a master. I'm not sure what the goal is once I'm there. Okay, great question. Oh yeah, Michael Lear. Thanks, Robin. Michael Lear is another great modern closed guard player. Yeah, so the question, the Keymaster, right? So I would kind of define the Keymaster as it's like a hook, right? Of course, you could say the Keymaster guard, but probably more easy way to think about it. If anyone's ever listened to me talk about the De La Riva hook before, as compared to the De La Riva guard, I would say the Keymaster is a hook, and it is useful in multiple guards. So there's multiple versions, right? So what a Keymaster hook is, okay, let's just imagine that you leave with your right leg. Yeah. Let's just imagine we were playing collar sleeve. Maybe set that way. That's what. Okay. So we're here. So imagine we were playing collar sleeve. I have my right foot on the hip, left foot in the bicep, and right hand on the sleeve. We're here, right? So if his leg is straight here, keep it leg straight, and I'm on the hip, it's very easy for me to center up here and start attacking triangles, omoplatas. There's a lot of things I can do. So one of his natural responses here, will be to kind of pull his elbow tight. And that makes it hard to pull this out. I could try to pull it out, but it's so much force to try to pull this arm out. So, but for him to keep that elbow tight like that, he almost always has to bend his knee a little bit, okay? And as that knee bends, this becomes a Keymaster hook, okay? So you see how my foot, I'm lift your arm up, I'm just having him lift his arm so you guys can see, right? And see when this is bent, I can kind of like turn my knee inward and I get this like hooking pressure on his inner thigh, okay? For you guys that are new, this of course is a little bit of an advanced topic, but if you've been playing collar sleeve a bit, it's gonna come up really quick, so it's worth knowing. right? So this hook here is actually really powerful. It doesn't look like it does much. A lot of people see it and they think, oh, it's just kind of there, like it's just sitting there. But actually the pulling down of this, it sucks me underneath him and it creates a lot of off balance. So what I'm doing is like I'm using my leg to pull downward like this. It's like a pulling down motion. And this foot here is getting traction on his leg and it sucks my body under this. If I have this here, when I pull there, you see that off balance it creates? Now we're setting up ankle locks. This could turn into like a matrix and all sorts of things will start opening, right? But again, like in the same way I make the analogy of like the De La Riva guard, people think of the De La Riva guard. People think of the De La Riva guard as like the De La Riva hook. But the De La Riva hook can be there with collar sleeve, with double sleeve, with cross sleeve. When people say De La Riva guard, what they mean is holding the ankle, right? And a lot of times I don't even have the De La Riva hook in, right? So I have the ankle and the collar. And if he drives his knee in a little bit, I might put the hook in. Sometimes it's just the knee. So the De La Riva hook is kind of, that's what this is, right? The De La Riva guard is just holding the ankle because I can have the De La Riva hook in a lot of situations. So in the same analogy, the Keymaster to me is more that hook. I could be playing collar sleeve here like this, and he pulls his elbow tight, and I have this Keymaster hook. I could just keep these grips and kind of pull and start to work under and keep the sleeve. But also I could be here like this, and the match starts, and he has this arm back, so he's hiding this arm, right? So I want this sleeve, he won't get it, and look, I just shoot my leg here and go like this. I have a Keymaster hook here, but this is going to function a little bit different than the sleeve control does, right? So I have like the pant here like this. See, and for him to pass this side, he's got to push this leg down. When he pushes the leg down, it gives me the sleeve, and then I can go back to here. And if I start trying to Keymaster hard, and he stretches his leg straight, see, when his leg's straight, I don't have any friction. So it's hard to Keymaster, but then the foot on the hip is strong, and I can use that to start setting up triangles and all quads, okay? So again, it's like a way more in-depth thing than that, but that's just kind of loosely defining what the Keymaster is. It's kind of an extension of that foot on the hip. So you have the foot on the hip, and you know how I show with De La Riva, like the knee pressure or the De La Riva hook, right? If some of you have seen that, I'll show it really quick. So like in De La Riva, I usually have like knee pressure. So it's like pulling on the ankle and driving with my knee. That kind of buckles his knee. If he drives his knee back in a lot, then I have a strong De La Riva hook. If his leg is straight, it's really hard to have a strong De La Riva hook. So it's knee pressure, he drives the knee in, De La Riva hook. He backs the leg up, knee pressure. And I kind of alternate those, right? Similar idea with a Keymaster. It's like hip pressure and then Keymaster pressure. So if I was on the pant here and I was doing like this and I pushed on his hip, that's kind of uncomfortable. So he might kind of like squat. Yeah, exactly. And then we go Keymaster. If he goes back up the straight, then we're going to go here. Because the Keymaster is not going to work if his leg is straight as a board, right? It's just, you don't really have much to pull on. So the foot and the hip makes more sense, right? So we're here like this. I'm on the hip trying to pull for the triangle. He pulls tight. Keymaster. Now I'm pulling under and working up to attacks. Okay? No problem. Oh. Pause due to connection. Okay, well, looks like we lost Instagram. Sorry, Instagram. My battery's almost died. All right, guys, let's take one more question here, and then we'll call it. I really appreciate you guys joining. What's your approach to learning no-gi and gi at once? Do you learn similar concepts? Yeah, so I haven't really worked on my no-gi a lot recently. I personally would feel like probably going in phases at once is probably best. That's how I approach positions too. Like I think trying to do all of your no-gi and gi kind of embedded at the same time would probably be harder. I might like spend like a month just doing a lot of no-gi and then a month doing a lot of gi, or maybe like prioritize one at least. Maybe just do primarily no-gi phase and then like once a week where you do gi just to kind of maintain what you got. But mostly your development is in no-gi. And then you do, conversely, you could do like a gi phase where you just focus all of your technical development on gi. Finish the single leg. I've been working on sit-up guard and coming up on the single, but the other guy tends to get a Kimura grip and then back roll me into the nether roll. Well, that doesn't sound fun. What I would say, if you're coming from sit-up guard, the easiest way to do it to defend both the loop choke and the Kimura trap is like, I like to control their sleeve, right? So again, this depends on how you set it up. If I started from like a lasso spider system, I already have this sleeve, right? So I could be here, switch to the De La Riva hook, get the ankle, and now I have sleeve and ankle. This is my preferred way to go to sit-up guard. Going to sit-up guard without this is a lot different, right? But let's suppose I have this. I push the hip out, I sit up and go here. Keeping this tight and keeping this sleeve makes you like way safer, right?
So if I'm here, a lot of times I go for this high lapel here, like this, right? I love this grip is so strong because when you end up coming up to finish the single leg, it's so much easier to finish because like posture record. His posture is kind of broken, right? If you're finishing a single leg, like you can do this like lower lapel grip like this too, but see posture up, he can posture up. So it's more like a normal single leg. When you have that high lapel, it's so much stronger, right? So look here, I'm like this, I have this sleeve. If he tries to push my leg and drive in, right, I try to bump or something like this. I come up here, I keep the sleeve I can, I come up here. Here. Once I'm here, it's so easy to finish with this high lapel. Usually here, I'll either go for the pant leg, or if I have a double grip on the lapel, this is really strong, right? Here, I just kind of start to go like to the right, and then I go back to the left and kind of go there, right? But usually if you have that high lapel grip, you don't have to be very good at doing single legs. Like I fought Leo Sajiro, and he's like a very wrestler type, really strong guy who's known for his single legs. And I was able to take him down with a single leg, and I'm not that great at it. It's just from having that like high lapel grip. I think that's a big one. And the other one with like the Kimura trap is just have the guy off balance when you come up, right? If I was just sitting here with a single leg and like the guy knows the game and I just went like this, for sure he could go for that, right? Yeah, he for sure can start jumping for this, and then then I'm going to be in trouble, right? But if I'm playing this position and I'm really tight on this leg, I really focus on getting around tight on this leg. If any of you guys have seen my content on Grappler's Guide, I showed this series a lot where I go around the leg here like this, right? And I'm tight here. So I'm keeping this tight here. It's hard for him to get to this. I'm looking for the sleeve. And from here, I'm going to be very careful about where I put this. So here, if I'm behind his leg, when I come up here, my weight is behind the hamstring. So a lot of times it's easy to just take his weight off the leg. I don't have to do this dramatic hand post on the floor and expose it. And I come up here, now I'm up here, control lapel. Pinch this first, pull, drop him, and go there. Cool? No problem, buddy. Who are your top 5 jiu-jitsu players currently? What's up, Ryan? Mergali for sure is probably my favorite. Just like if you consider everything, like he's got amazing passing, amazing submissions, super modern guard, like definitely Mergali. I would say Tommy Langaker for sure. Like his development in the guard, it's just a different way of playing the guard. It's super, really, really cool. I like Paquito a lot as well because we have very similar jiu-jitsu games. All of his matches are exciting. It's like spider guard, open guard, really aggressive passing. A lot of guys have passing. It's kind of, I feel like, slow and stifled. They're not really aggressively going. Definitely Lucas Lepre, just because he's so well-rounded. He's got an amazing guard. Some of the best passing in jiu-jitsu, amazing takedowns, great submissions. I didn't see Keenan's Toriando at Euros. I'll be doing another, I see some Warren Guard questions. I really wanted to get into that as well. But I'll be doing another live stream maybe tomorrow, but definitely one this week. So if I keep going, I'm just going to keep going. Can you show how you approach? I'll get it next time, Ryan. I promise. Okay. Or actually, I'll message it to you, but I'll send you a video on that one. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The video will be posted after this, so you guys can review it afterwards. And we'll do another one soon. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.